You are not black. Or maybe you are. I cannot see you. But what exactly does it mean to be black? And who gets to make that call? Let's talk about it. Blackness and what it means to be black remains a surprisingly complex issue. Whether it's passing certain unspoken cultural tests or just passing, something I'll get into later, being black is, well, it's not a black and white issue. Before we get into the topic of what it means to be black, however, we should discuss the concept of race in general. It can be easy to forget at times that race is just a social construct. For as long as humans have existed, we have found a way to classify each other or put each other in boxes. Ancient humans likely did this by tribe or geographic origin. This likely started to change around the 15th and 16th century when ancient Europeans started exploring on a global level and encountered people with significantly different phenotypical characteristics from their own. Unsurprisingly, the concept of a white superior race emerged during this period, driven by the need to rationalize the exploitation and dehumanization of African people and other indigenous populations. The label white was originally reserved for the Anglo-Saxon Protestant elite, but over time expanded to include Italians, Irish, and Greek. This was partially a strategic move on the part of European immigrants who desired the privilege and upward social mobility that whiteness provided, and thus, they did their best to assimilate. So just the existence of the terms black and white as racial constructs, even if we don't think about the ugly racial history of America for a minute, were still by themselves born out of racism. To be black was to be otherized as not white. Actually, speaking of which, the more things change, the more they tend to stay the same. Because to this day, the black experience, particularly here in the United States, largely exists in relation to white supremacy. In other words, blackness is defined by how it navigates the oppositional and antagonistic force that is white supremacy. But what does all of this have to do with the thesis of this video? Why am I claiming that you are not black? Well, for starters, I'm not talking to you or you or you. I'm talking to you. Not you specifically, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I am you.
There has been quite a lot of discourse around the idea of what it means to be black and even the idea of gatekeeping blackness. There are multiple ways to gatekeep blackness, some of which are more legitimate than others. Just to get this out the way before I go any further, gatekeeping blackness by way of nationality does not make any sense, and y'all need to cut that shit out. Every single black person across the diaspora is black. I point this out only because I've seen it a lot and Americans are particularly guilty of this. Black Americans seem to think that they are black and black people from other parts of the world are something else. I've never fully understood it, but we need to kill that noise ASAP. That being said, remember when I said blackness largely exists in relation to white supremacy? Well, I sort of meant that literally. Because even though black people and black culture are definitely complex, the quickest and easiest way to know if you're black, again particularly here in the United States, is to hypothetically run the police test. Imagine you're driving down the highway when suddenly you see the red and blue lights appear in your rearview mirror. You're not speeding, your tags are not expired, and as far as you know, you haven't violated any traffic laws. If you feel at ease and confident that you can clear up any confusion with the nice officer, you are probably not black. Obviously, this is slightly tongue-in-cheek and a rule of thumb. It does not have universal application, obviously, but undoubtedly, the cops will make some white people nervous and some black people will feel at ease with police presence for some reason. But all of that being said, there's some real truth to it. And this is where we get to the heart of the issue, and why everyone cannot, nor should they want to claim blackness. The one-drop rule, a principle that held any person with either a single black ancestor or had even one drop of black blood, automatically made them a black person, seems to still have a deep chokehold on our society to this day. We seem to be in a strange time where people will run from the problems that come with being black, but will pull out pictures of their one black grandparent to prove that they are in fact black. Because, as I mentioned earlier, race is a social construct, it is not entirely untrue to say that one's race is largely determined by vibes. Like, okay, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but still partially true. I recently commented on a community post of a large YouTuber essentially making that same point, and was genuinely surprised by the amount of pushback I received. People started responding with think pieces, asking me to clarify at what hue can someone claim to be black. Questions like those entirely miss the point in my opinion. Though I get it, it can seem like saying that you don't get to decide if you're black is gatekeeping blackness. And again, yeah, it kind of is. No single person gets to decide if another person is black or not. But collectively as a community, we do. And it isn't universal either. One person who may be perceived as black in one country may not be perceived as such elsewhere. And of course, like most things, perception tends to exist along a spectrum. I have never been perceived as anything other than black my entire life. I am unambiguously a dark-skinned black man. For others, they may be perceived as black by some and not by others. Sometimes how they choose to present themselves may affect people's perception of their race. But if you need to tell people that you're black, if you have to provide photographic evidence of your ancestors' blackness or show a copy of your 23andMe results, you are not black. It would be somewhat akin to telling someone that you're funny, and instead of proving it by making people laugh, you point to the fact that your mother is a working stand-up comedian. You don't get to tell people that you're funny, and as controversial as it may be for some of y'all, you don't get to tell people that you're black. I saw a bit of this in my video about black women and colorism in Hollywood. Some people seem to take issue with the fact that I casually refer to Felicia Rashad as being a light-skinned woman. I kid you not, there was an entire thread dedicated to debating if she is in fact light-skinned or brown-skinned. And guys, spoiler alert, it doesn't matter. I am dark-skinned, so from my perspective, she's light-skinned. There is no objective hue formula that one can utilize to determine if someone is dark-skinned, brown-skinned, or light-skinned. Likewise, there is no specific minimal shade or percentage of African ancestry that lends itself to possessing a black card. Why is this controversial to some? I have no idea. Perhaps the more important conversation to be had is around the gatekeeping of blackness when it comes to cultural touchstones. Why do we do it, and should we continue to do it? If you're black, you likely know someone, or you are that someone who has been considered an Oreo their entire life. Whether it's not knowing how to play spades, not knowing how to do the electric slide, or talking white. As black people, we are always somewhat shit testing our own. And yes, of course, much of this is done in jest obviously, but there is often some truth to be found within humor. It's almost like we are saying, yeah, you look like one of us, but were you really down? And while some black people on the receiving end of this ribbing may not appreciate it, I would argue it is an essential part of the black community that we should absolutely continue to do. Our ancestors lost much of their culture, heritage, and language after generations of enslavement and genocide, a crime for which we will never be repaid, likely. And while our ancestors did their best to cling to a few corners of their heritage, the long-held black tradition of gatekeeping black culture and having an unofficial checklist for maintaining your black card is our way of holding each other to account and making sure we don't forget where we came from. The concept of passing, as I hinted at earlier, is also a fascinating aspect of the black experience, especially in America. Historically, passing referred to light-skinned black people who could assimilate into white society to escape the shackles of racial discrimination and even benefit from the nectar of white privilege. This, however, came at a cost: the denial of one's heritage and community. It's a paradoxical situation, where one gains societal acceptance at the expense of personal identity. The very idea of passing highlights the arbitrary and fluid nature of racial identity. It underscores how societal perceptions and labels can override individual identity, forcing people to navigate a complex web of societal expectations and self-identification. Let's take a deeper look at the nuances of what it means to be Black, beyond the color of one's skin. There is a cultural aspect to Blackness that is rich, diverse, and often misunderstood. Black culture is obviously not monolithic. It varies greatly across different regions and countries. African American culture, for instance, has been shaped by a unique history of slavery, segregation, and the civil rights movement, which is distinct from the experiences of Afro-Caribbeans or Africans in other parts of the world. This diversity within Blackness is something to be celebrated, not used as a tool for division or unnecessary gatekeeping. Because again, there is a difference between gatekeeping within a specific Black culture as opposed to gatekeeping Blackness across cultures. We understand that Black people from different cultures will express their Blackness in different ways than we do. But we understand that, and we understand that they are still Black. However, gatekeeping within one's own Black culture can sometimes lend itself to long-term community building and camaraderie. So there is a difference. Music and art have been powerful expressions of Black identity and resistance. From jazz and blues to hip-hop and R&B, Black artists have used their talents to articulate their experiences, struggles, and hopes. These art forms have transcended racial boundaries, influencing global culture and becoming a universal language of resilience and empowerment. The significance of Black music and art goes beyond entertainment. It's a testament to the enduring spirit and creativity of Black people in the face of adversity. Let's also talk about language and dialect. African American Vernacular English, AAVE, often stigmatized and misunderstood, is a legitimate and complex linguistic system with its own set of rules and history. It is a language born out of the African diaspora's need to communicate and survive in a hostile environment. AAVE is not broken English, but a testament to the adaptability and resilience of the Black community. It's a linguistic tapestry woven with threads from various African languages, English and Creole influences. This language is a crucial part of the Black identity, embodying the history, creativity, and endurance of a people. Then there's the Black church and spirituality. Now, even though I am an atheist myself, it's hard to deny that the Black church has been a cornerstone of African American life, offering not just spiritual guidance, but also serving as a hub for social, political, and cultural activities. It has been at the forefront of civil rights movements, providing a platform for leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. to inspire and mobilize the community. The Black church is more than just a place of worship. It's a sanctuary, a community center, and a bastion of hope and resistance against racial oppression. Furthermore, the concept of Blackness extends to the realm of politics and activism. The fight for equality and justice has been a central part of the Black experience. Black political movements from the civil rights era to Black Lives Matter have not only advocated for the rights of Black people, but have also paved the way for broader social justice movements. These movements highlight the interconnectedness of struggles against all forms of oppression, be it racial, gender, or economic. Education and the pursuit of knowledge have been vital tools in the Black community's fight for empowerment. Historically, Black people have been denied access to education as a means of keeping them in a subordinate position. Despite this, Black scholars, intellectuals, and educators have emerged, often against great odds, to contribute significantly to various fields of study. The importance of education in the Black community cannot be overstated. It's seen as a key to unlocking doors of opportunity and dismantling systemic barriers. In recent times, the conversation around Blackness has also embraced discussions of intersectionality. The experiences of Black women, LGBTQ+ individuals, and people with disabilities within the Black community highlight the need for an inclusive understanding of Blackness. These intersectional identities bring additional layers of complexity and challenge to the Black experience. Recognizing and addressing these intersectional issues is crucial in the pursuit of a truly equitable and inclusive society. The global Black diaspora also plays a significant role in shaping the concept of Blackness. The experiences of Black people in the Americas, Europe, Africa, and other parts of the world are incredibly diverse yet interconnected. The diaspora has created a global network of shared experiences and struggles, fostering a sense of solidarity and collective identity among Black people worldwide. This global perspective enriches the understanding of Blackness, highlighting the common threads that bind the diaspora while respecting the unique experiences of each community. So what does the future of Blackness look like? Well, moving forward, the definition and perception of Blackness will continue to evolve. The younger generation of Black people are redefining what it means to be Black in the modern world, challenging old stereotypes and forging new paths. The future of Blackness is about embracing the full spectrum of Black experiences, breaking down barriers, and continuing the fight for equality and recognition. It's about celebrating the richness and diversity of Black culture, recognizing the contributions of Black people to society, and envisioning a world where race is no longer a determinant of one's destiny. To put it simply, the concept of Blackness is multifaceted and ever evolving. It encompasses a wide range of experiences, histories, and expressions. From the struggle against systemic racism to the celebration of cultural heritage, Blackness is complex, it's resilient, it's creative, it's relentless. Understanding and respecting this complexity is key to appreciating the full scope of what it means to be Black. Thank you guys so much for watching. I deeply appreciated that you made it all the way to the end. Please let me know what you thought in the comments. I really put quite a bit of thought into this video, and I would like to hear any thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with anything that I said in the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you want to support, patreon.com/progressivewriter. Again, thank you so much.